Here we are.
Here we are.
Another episode.
Look at us.
Again.
Watch the lore heads.
Watch us unedited for some reason.
Because it's hard to edit.
It is hard to... Oh, no, I just mean, I don't know why anyone would want to watch unedited versions of us. I'm not cutting out anything good, y'all.
Yeah, just, get all the good dead air, people talking over each other so you can't hear anything. I love it.
John's
now,
gulping.
That value comes straight to you.
Okay, You do it extra on purpose.
Yeah.
Hello, lore heads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about Demacia's Wings Quinn, who was released March 1st, 2013. Also, I realized I was editing the podcast last time, and I said exploring the League of Legends champions.
I caught that when you said it, but
I didn't. I didn't even notice that I said it.
In my head, I was like, does she always say
right?
champions?
No, I say lore. I don't know, y'all. I'm sorry.
It's like a Mandela effect thing. It's like, maybe she's always said it. I'm not paying attention.
I've been wrong this whole time.
Kazam, Shazam, I don't know. Maybe they both exist. Yeah, Quinn and Valor. It just says Quinn on Riot. But,
yeah. But really, Valor's the star of the show.
Ouch. Okay.
I thought they were going to release her as Quinn and Valor, and then at the time, the client couldn't handle that shit or something like that.
That is true. That is one of my fun facts.
Oh my god.
That's probably why they re-released during the rework. That's probably why it's now Nunu and Willump.
We have the technology.
Nunu. They have the technology for double names now.
That ampersand was just fucking them up.
This is why they built the new client, by the way.
Right?
It had nothing to do with helping the players, or like, we gotta be able to have two names.
We need to be able to ampersand this shit.
Yeah, I remember Quinn coming out, so to me she seems like a new champion. And then I saw
So
2013 and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, she's got old lore. Not old enough, she doesn't have judgment old lore.
No.
But she has old lore.
It's like old lore light.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like Summoner's Rift type bullshit, but you're like, Institute of War shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a bio and a short story linked along with some concept art. She does have a much longer story that leads right up to Garen's First Shield novel. Kind of, I think we may have talked about it a little bit when we talked about First Shield, like,
Yeah.
what was Quinn doing before this? Because it was very clear she was doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not linked on her page. It is on Universe, but they just decided not to link it because fuck you, the reader.
I don't understand, because it's like, it's not an old piece or anything. It's very new.
It's brand new.
It's got a
Maybe
Legends of
that's why.
Runeterra card in it. Like, come on.
Right?
Oh, really?
It's got 2 Legends of Runeterra cards in it.
Oh.
Wait, who's
Is
the
it
second
the
one?
doggy?
The other one is just kind of mentioned.
Oh.
But it's who she was trying to pawn the mission off in the first
Oh,
fights.
yeah.
But yeah, Doggy's
Oh, well.
the one. Well, owner of Doggy.
I figured. I couldn't remember either of their names off the top of my head, though.
No, you got it with Doggy.
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 The doggy.
So what's Quinn sound like?
Quinn sounds like a lady. I felt like she sounded pretty generic, and then I actually was listening to some of her quotes, and I'm like, you sound kind of hot.
Right? She
I don't
sounded
know.
way hotter than I was
Right? I don't know.
imagining in my head before listening to her.
I don't know why. At first I thought she was like, what do you see up there? But she's like, what do you see up there?
She has that growl in her
Little smoky.
voice, like the gravel growl.
Yeah. Quinn. Hey.
So who wants to tackle it?
I mean, I just nailed it. I don't know what you're
Okay,
talking
that's
about.
true. That is true.
What are
It was
her
so
other
good that
quotes?
it just slipped under the radar. Gouge 'em, Valor.
Nice. Less sexy, but you try.
Yeah, that's her action mode. She's all business
Right.
at that time.
That's true. You got your business pants on. And
I'm going to go the other direction.
Not your Kaisa
though.
pants.
More sexy than the line calls for.
That's, yeah.
Who's there? Garen who? Yeah, I guess he does say that a lot.
Oh man, you're getting a little hot under the collar with it.
This is like when Quinn was a sex operator.
No, that's
Phone
Jana.
sex. No, that's the old lore. John.
Actually, did they get rid of that quote, or is it still in game?
I think it's still in game.
Oh yeah. Update something of Jana's.
No.
John, come on.
Crazy.
All right, so who wants to do the
take us
bio?
through the bio today?
I have notes today.
Oh
everybody.
shit!
I know.
Fuck your bingo card.
You know what? We do have a bingo card someone made a while ago, and I don't think that's on that shockingly. Maybe
I'm almost positive it is.
Oh, fuck me. All right. I thought it was I only have notes for the bio. Would have been
it might be that.
Because I
That's
think I
fine, too.
used to just only take notes for the bio, and then I had a baby, and I'm like, you know what, y'all?
No notes, and you'll be thankful for it.
It was before I had her. Then I got pregnant. Quinn was a normal girl in Demacia, truly. She and her twin brother Caleb grew up in Uendel, and after a visit from Jarvan III, the siblings became obsessed with the idea of becoming knights and serving Demacia, all that fun stuff. But as they grew up, they spent more time with their mother, who was a ranger, and she taught them how to track and survive, all the classic ranger stuff. So one day, after they were official rangers, all big and strong, Quinn and Caleb were hired to help nobles hunt a tuskvor. They're not good at hunting tuskvors, apparently, because Quinn and Caleb had to step in, and they did fight the beast off, but not before Caleb got killed, and then the beast ran away. So Quinn had a rough year after that. Her ranger skills were not so good. A woman named Lady Listara Bouvel. Yeah, does that sound right?
Yeah, sounds good.
She visited Quinn and asked if there was anything she could do to repay her because Quinn had saved her husband's life, but Quinn had nothing. On the anniversary of her brother's death, she went to his grave and was attacked by the tuskvor who had killed him. They take it out of his eyes so they could recognize him. She struggled with it until an eagle stepped in to help. Eagle. The eagle got injured. Quinn helped him, and now they're besties, and that's obviously Valor. Then the eagle flew off, and another bird came up.
You'll be my stand-in for the good one.
Quinn decided she wanted to become a knight again, like when she was a child, and with Lady Listara Bouvel's help, I think I just said a totally different name than the first time.
Nah, you nailed.
Quinn became a ranger knight for Demacia, and now she travels around the world, kind of preferring to work alone with Valor, serving Demacia from the outside. And that's Quinn.
Yeah.
It's basically what I expected. I did not know she had a twin brother. So I assumed some kind of tragedy happened in her life. Her parents are still alive, which that's nice. Yeah,
that's something.
No Disney princess stuff here. She's her folks.
She's a little more D&D character, right? A little more
yes. She's a D&D character you make when you're like, I'm not going to do a really tragic backstory this time.
Just a partially tragic backstory.
You're like, my whole family's not dead, just my brother.
Yeah.
It's How to Train Your Dragon if Hiccup weren't inept.
I guess, sure.
I think I've seen that once, a long-ass time ago.
It's a great film.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't have the reference.
God, Mark said he fucking hates How to Train Your Dragon.
This
folks.
just
Get in the comments.
You know what? That is slander, okay? But
Mark
fuck
hates
Toothless.
it, and the sequel's more.
So, yeah, you might, for the record, remember Uendale from way back in the day when we covered Poppy. It's the town where the Slayer left their first eyewitness account of their appearance, which prompted the creation of the statue.
Okay.
So at the end of that story, she was off to Uendale to try and find the Slayer.
I'm curious that it would be really fun for Quinn and Poppy to have a run-in together. I think
They probably have. They're both chilling in Demacia,
right?
right?
They're kind of both wandering around near Demacia. very much loners.
Yeah, it's almost like there was another champion with a hand crossbow who probably should have been Quinn.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. So just to bring up, I know that Quinn's not in Rise of the Sentinels, but she fucking should have been. Oh my god, that would have been great. Why the fuck was Vayne there?
Because Vayne is way more popular than Quinn, is my 100% guess. Yeah.
Who plays Vayne?
It's a real shame. You'll be great too, is because
Sue.
like Quinn's all about Demacia needs heroes, and at the same time she can't wield that hammer. Like I would love Poppy trying to give her the hammer, and Quinn's just like,
Yeah.
nope, too slow.
That would be really
pass.
funny. Like if Poppy just keeps trying to give her the hammer, and finally Quinn's like,
I
you know
can't
what?
run with this.
Fine. Let me show you what I'm gonna fight like with this
It
hammer.
would be great.
Oh, that's so cute. I love the idea of
Way
Poppy
better.
just desperately trying.
And Quinn does not share the rest of Demacia's hate of magic and
magic.
shit like
No,
that. So
no.
I mean, even better pairing for Poppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
What could have been?
what could have been right?
Another tidbit from this one is the Bouvelles that we mentioned here. Lord Barrett is Sona's adopted father.
Oh.
So good on Quinn because it really changed the course of League history here. Kind of. Because he then does go on to die a few years later.
Oh,
But
really?
we'll get to that.
Wow. Caleb died for nothing.
Hey, no. He's got 2 more years. I think she even.
2 more years.
I think
Yeah,
his wife
thanks
even
for
says
giving me
that.
2 more years with my husband.
He
Oh
was
my god, I missed that.
he was so accident prone. He was so inept. 2 years is
He
like.
tried to. Could you imagine how insulting it would be if he died trying to hunt the tusk floor?
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I feel
Yeah.
like Quinn just should have killed him herself at that point. Are you trying this? You dumb
You
ass.
son of
you
a bitch.
Son of a.
Yeah. I it's fine. Like you said, it's a lot of what you
Yeah.
expect. I think it's like just on the side of interesting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a Graham McNeil piece
Yeah.
to me. It felt like they gave Graham McNeil this bio and they were like, but don't make it sound too McNeely.
So, I mean, the
Okay.
bios, you kind of have to do that, I guess.
Yeah, well, it is
Yeah.
interesting when you say that because, like, I looked at her old bio and I think it's just the same stuff, but just less. It's like 3 paragraphs, and this is now like 800 words. So
beefed
maybe
it
they're
up
just like,
a
hey,
little.
Yeah.
who can we get to fill out the word count a little bit? McNeil.
Graham McNeil will for sure
That's true.
fluff up the word count.
Yeah. They although they made one change that I'm not a huge fan of. I guess we'll get into it when we get into the old lore. But
I didn't read it super close, to be honest. I was like, this all looks about the same, so I kind of skimmed it.
Yeah. It was mostly the
Yeah,
same.
Caleb, he died, blah, blah, blah.
They didn't name him Caleb in the old bio.
Oh.
He was just unnamed brother.
Interesting.
Okay, it's good they give him a name because I feel like if you want to have some kind of sympathy from your audience, to feel some kind of emotion, at the very least, name the character.
Now here's the weird thing. They didn't give him a name in the bio.
Sure.
Her release thing, which is just a bunch of pages from her diary, they do give him a name there. So like they had the name on launch. They just didn't put it in his bio. They just fucking left it out of the bio for some reason.
I wonder if they ever thought there was a point where they like didn't want to clutter up bios with lots of names, something like that. So
I
maybe
could
they
see
felt
that.
like they didn't need his name.
It's like we don't have room for names. What we do have room for is a 3-paragraph sentence on why they joined the League of Legends.
Well, I mean, you got to explain it. Yeah, it's weird because like I feel like when I look at bios that are like recent enough that they don't have the Institute of War but are still have been changed, sometimes they get made a lot more verbose and sometimes they get a lot less verbose. Like I think Pantheon, I didn't mention it in the episode, but he had a previous version of the bio that was way more detailed about him and the guy who he ended up getting killed. I was like, oh, I like this. I wish we had more of this. And then Quinn is kind of like, I feel like maybe it could have just been a little thinner and like we could have gotten to all this, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big. It was fine for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you'd expect. It is fun to hear about a ranger. I feel like when I play D&D, I always really like rangers, even though I don't
too.
always play them. But I do
They're one of my
like the
favorite
idea.
archetypes, I think.
Mm.
Yes.
Rangers, yeah, they're cool.
They're very much up your alley, I guess. If you were to be a
Like,
D&D
in
class,
IRL,
you'd
I would
probably
probably
be
choose a ranger.
a ranger. Yeah.
I can see that. Well, I think she's neat too because she fits into a neat kind of spot in like the Demacian hierarchy. Like, there's not a lot of them that tool around out in the wilds, so she's kind of unique in that way too.
Yeah, and it definitely gives her the outsider perspective of like how Demacia is crumbling a little bit right now with their beliefs and their anti-magic and whatnot. It was nice to get her perspective on that as somebody who is very loyal to Demacia but is critical of what they're currently doing. Which I liked. Because I feel like even Garen is like, well, I don't know. Jorvin is...
It took him a lot, right?
They told me to do the thing, so I did the thing.
It took him a lot.
And he was even very reluctant to let his own sister go. And whereas I don't think Quinn would have quite had that dilemma. Like, say, if Caleb were a mage, she would have been like, oh, fucking let's get you out of here.
Yeah.
Which we see in her short story.
Well, that makes me want to
person's a mage, but go on.
Yeah. Well, it makes me want to see her interact with Garen and her to like throw that back at him. Like, why was it even a question for you, right? If I could have Caleb back in a second, I would send him anywhere just to know he was out there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That would be a lot of fun.
Oh, that would be good. I do like the idea of playing into, her tragedy a little bit, because we do get a paragraph explaining how in pain she was. I mean, again, it's a bio. I get they can't like linger on her mourning, but losing a twin, like
that's the hardest of the siblings to lose.
Yeah, I mean that's rough. And I mean,
rank
a twin
them.
That you're
What's the easiest sibling to lose?
A sibling you don't like.
Yeah.
Everyone's
sibling.
got one.
You only got children out there?
Just kidding, family. I don't have one. I love you all.
Yeah.
Mark, I think you only have one sibling. Do you just...
Well, I'm sorry, but that's how it... she's only one, so that's the one who's got to,
That's the way the sibling crumbled.
Anyway, I imagine it's still, even years later, very difficult to keep going and to be a knight, the way her brother wanted. And we don't really get that very much. So I would like to see more of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's something I like about some of her old lore stuff, like some of the release stuff they did with her, is there is a page where she's writing to Caleb, and it's like, it's a little insight into it. And I wish there's like a lot of opportunity in the long story where maybe she could have been reflecting on some of that. And it doesn't really happen. I feel like it's kind of a missed opportunity.
Especially because they pass right by the area where like a lot of shit went down. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, in the longer story, they kind of she's familiar with this area and doesn't like it, and that's kind of all they really say.
Yeah.
She also refers to Valor as her little brother at some point, which I don't know. They don't really delve into whether or not this is a healthy attack. I mean, obviously, she and Valor have a close, real bond, as you can with an animal, but is she in some ways projecting a little bit her pain into this relationship?
It's hard because I think Riot has flirted internally with the idea that maybe Valor is like Caleb kind of reincarnated almost.
I wondered if they were going to play with that. When Valor came about, I wondered if, there was going to be hints that this was Caleb, which, I mean, it's Runeterra. Someone didn't want to die. He could turn into an eagle.
I'm a bird. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the farthest they've committed to that is I feel like saying that like Quinn sees a lot of Caleb's personality in Valor. I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. All right, want to hop into the first short story, the actual short story?
Sure, I have notes on that too.
So actually, before we do that, I'm going to do a quick one that's not linked, but is timeline-wise technically the next one.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
So this one is Fragile Legacies by Dana Lurie Shaw. And this one is basically at the funeral for Lord Barrett. He has
Okay.
died.
He half died.
He half died. So they're at the funeral, and I fucking loved this. So remember in the bio when it said that eventually Quinn did decide to take up I forget her name, Lestara, is that her name?
Yeah,
Something
that's
like
right.
that, yeah.
Lestara, yeah. When she finally decided to take Lestara up on her offer for a favor, guess when she asks for the favor?
No.
At her husband's funeral, y'all.
When girl.
You know what? She's a country bumpkin. She doesn't understand. Like,
So she shows up to the funeral. Lestara thanks her for giving her 2 more good years. That's when Quinn asked for the favor. And so Lestara is actually kind of looking for a distraction. So she's like, yeah, I'll do. And Quinn's kind of uncomfortable asking, but she does it. And she's like, you don't have to do it now. She's like, no, I would like to. So she goes up to Tiana to ask. And for some background here, Tiana was supposed to be leading the vanguard that was protecting Lord Barrett, but she retired so that she could become Grand Marshal instead. And in her absence, the vanguard failed to protect Barrett, and he died. So there's a bit of drama here.
Tiana,
So,
I'm still so suspicious of that.
yeah.
So she
Tiana.
goes up and asks Tiana for
You
the
know
favor.
what? Tiana sounds like Kiana.
Dun, dun, dun.
And Kiana's evil. So
What are you applying?
they're both LeBlanc.
It's as clear as day.
There it is.
So yeah, she goes up to Tiana, and Tiana's like, you know, you serve people so often. Why don't you take a little break, give people the opportunity to serve you instead of, you know, asking for favors for other people today? And she's like, oh, sweet. Well, if you're offering to serve me today, I'd really love if you could do the favor that I just asked you to do, especially because Quinn actually protected Lord Barrett.
Ooh,
Shit.
And
good for her.
and Tiana got a little pissy.
Man.
But she does end up getting that knighthood.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna be interested.
She does try to put it off too. She's like, oh well, I'm going off on expedition soon. Maybe when we come back. She's like, oh, when are you leaving on expedition? Oh, in 3 days. Oh, I guess we'll talk in the next 2 days then, won't we? She's very in it.
I'm
liking Lestara.
You're right.
Yeah. Can I get those big ass balls she's dragging around? Because I just gotta say, I'm so bad at confrontation. I would have been like, yeah, sure, okay.
Sure, Tiana.
Madam.
Your pauldrons are very big.
Right? She's like looming over her, wide as a Mack truck with those pauldrons.
I didn't even like my husband. It's fine.
Clumsy
He
motherfucker.
sounds like a dumbass. Actually, he sounded very
He
nice.
sounded lovely.
Yeah, he sounded like a great guy.
Anyway.
But anyway, yeah, timeline-wise, that's the next one. And then we get on to the one that's actually linked on the page.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Ooh,
Sorry.
gosh.
This is called Rules of Survival. John has it credited for Graham McNeil. I assume he wrote it. That's not credited on the Riot Universe page. This one is a really quick action piece. I mean, it's her color story. Quinn has tracked a bunch of Noxians close to the Demacian border, a little too close for comfort. She waits for them to get a bit tipsy and then goes in. She gives them a chance to take what they've stolen, or to give back what they've stolen, rather. But they, of course, attack her. So she and Valor slaughter them all. Literally, they just murder all of them. And then throughout the story, there are little lines about rules of survival that are pretty basic, like Rule 3, stay silent. Just things like that.
Rule 4, stay alive.
Kind of.
Survive.
Honestly, it could have just been summarized by Rule 1, don't die. And then, yeah. But that's kind of it. I didn't really get anything else from this.
Yeah. Rules gave me real Zombieland vibes.
Oh, sure.
Yes,
I can
but
see
not
that.
funny. Zombieland was funny.
I was very lucky that they were numbered in such a way that they just
corresponded with her.
They corresponded to the shit that she needed to do.
True. She was never like, it was never actually like Zombieland where he was like, hey,
Rule
this is
32.
rule 27.
Yeah.
Hey, this is rule 4, you know? Yeah.
She's making
Rule
them
1,
up.
wait for him to get drunk. Rule 2, wait for nighttime. Rule 3, are they Noxian? If so...
It's like a little flow chart.
That's what it was.
I did like the one where, so there's one of the Noxians who's a little better and is kind of like on alert, and then one of the other Noxians is like, hey, come on, have a drink. And he's like, okay, I'll have a drink. And then the immediate response is like, oh, rule 4, 5, don't let stupid people drag you down to their level or something like that. I like that one.
I like to think that she was making them up as she went along with just this mission.
Yeah, probably.
This is how she entertains herself, you know, a little bit.
She's probably writing them down in her journal. Big journaler, this one.
Yeah, right.
Gee, what a fucking nerd, huh? Journal. Who's gonna read it? Valor.
He's a bird.
I don't know. I just ripped on her for journaling. I don't know what that was.
Right. Damn, you went
You're
hard.
judge for journaling here.
Except the journal.
This is a journal safe zone. That's.
Now I want to get a journal and write journal justice on it. I do have like 8 journals. I don't know. Anyway,
You just gotta write journal justice on
just
one
gotta
of them.
write journal justice on one of them.
I was thinking, like, after the bio, like, what's going to make this a Graham McNeil story? And then I read this line. Hooked claws tore the face from one Noxian, and the eagle's slashing beak clove the skull of the soldier next to him. The third Noxian managed to raise his weapon, but Valor sank his claws into his shoulder and bore him to the ground. The eagle's beak slashed down, and the man's struggles ceased instantly. And I was like, yeah, okay, now this is a Graham McNeil piece.
Man, Valor I was really surprised at how violent
fucking
Valor.
metal as hell.
Yeah, he takes his face off. Not like, oh, he scratches his face, but it is removed.
Straight up fucking Dwight Schruted that shit, wore it.
Not Hannibal Lecter. Not Hannibal Lecter, which is what he's mocking. No. He's the Dwight version. Fucking millennial.
Oh my god.
That's how we do.
Yeah.
I ended up liking this one, I think, just because it was very short but very effective, and I liked that it was like in Quinn's head the whole time. So I got a good sense of like how she operates and kind of a little bit of how she is like in her moment to moment, I guess. Kind of like that.
I think I liked it. I think my main problem with this story is that since we're viewing it through Quinn's head, like in her head, and we're also viewing the Shield of Remembrance in Quinn's head, it seems like two very different Quinns.
Yeah.
I kind of agree, and I like this
like-
Quinn better.
You like Assassin Quinn?
I like the other Quinn. So I thought it was pretty ballsy because she went in and she was like, I should take them silently, but like, you know, they're up here in Demacia. Fuck them. I'm not taking them quietly. And then she like just goes in guns ablazing in a fight that like she knew that some of them had been drinking.
Yeah.
She knew that she shouldn't take them on like this, but she did anyway. And what was at risk here, the thing they had stolen, they say at the end, was like Demacian marching orders. That could have been fucking disastrous if she failed to get that shit back.
And I feel like there were no repercussions for her going in like this. Whereas in the next story, like she really does hesitate to take on a whole group of people by herself. I don't think she should have won this fight. I know that Quinn is very good, but Noxian soldiers are also very good, and there's 5 of them. 6 of them.
Because this one was a 6v1, and she was like, easy peasy.
6v2, I guess, and maybe Valor can count for 2 or 3 people.
And then in the next story, it is just 5, and she's like, well, I'm not just going to go in 5v1. That would be fucking crazy.
I think she even says like 5v2, like 2 versus 5 is still not the best like situation.
Right?
Yes.
Even though the other one's also a trained ranger on his way.
I think what would have made this work for me is if Quinn was really pissed off for some reason. Like they had done something in particular that is making her act irrationally, and maybe she just gets really lucky in this fight.
They had taken down a horn beast with no problem earlier in the day.
It's just, I don't know, something to to kind of connect this Quinn with the other one that we get, who's a little bit more level-headed. And yeah, but this is fun because she just kind of goes in and annihilates a bunch of people, and you're like, oh shit, you're like an amazing soldier. But it doesn't match up with the other Quinns that we're getting. And I think it could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Quinn's thinking like a League of Legends champion, and the other Quinn is thinking like a ranger.
Yeah, this is how I play League, but then I lose the fight.
I don't know. I feel like it spends a lot of time setting up, here's all of the ways, like the point of all those rules being hammered in is like, here's all the ways that they are not prepared, right? They're drunk. Their defenses are down. They don't have night sight because makes a specific point to like avoid looking at any light so she can see them and they can't see her. Like it read to me like she spent a lot of time preparing and deciding to do something that, even if it was rash, was still maybe in more of her favor than the scenario in the second story. And I think more than that, even, it's just that I find it more entertaining and interesting, and I don't really find Quinn in that long story to be terribly interesting, which is kind of where that's my issue with it.
Did Graham McNeil write the Katarina story where she was going over all those rules in her head?
That's a good question.
I wonder.
It makes me wonder.
He's just into this idea of rules.
Fucking rules, man.
Rules are important.
Yeah, I could see that, Mark. That I would say their defenses are down. They are drinking a little bit, but I don't know. There's still 6 Noxian soldiers. I just
they try to, in her stories time after time, I think they try to make her way more Sherlock Holmes than her gameplay would.
That's true. I actually was thinking that, and then I was thinking I like how it's done so much better than how it's done in a lot of like Sherlock Holmes like adaptations that exist. It's more subtle and less like dumb. I don't know.
More realistic, I guess.
More realistic, yes.
They're not leaps in logic that she's taking. They're like all very.
They're
observations. Tracks.
Yes, they're observations that most people would not realize, and they're not trying to say that she's one in a bajillion for recognizing these things, but she is, unique for recognizing weaknesses that other people wouldn't, and they make sense.
Yeah, a realistic
they're things that
competence.
Yes.
Anyone could see if they were paying attention and knew what to look for, but she just pays more attention and knows what to look for than most people.
And not like, oh, they misses the car keys, so they must be a drunk. Or whatever they try to say. Some of us just don't have great hand-eye coordination, okay?
I'm just an idiot, okay? Let's make that clear.
I'm just a dumbass, Mr. Holmes.
Although I did have a moment like that in the next story. Or one of her deductions, I was like, excuse me.
Actually. Now I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, that takes us to the next one, I guess.
All right.
Shield of Remembrance by Anthony Reynolds Lenné.
So my notes are super sparse on this, so just let me know if I miss anything significant.
It's one of those stories that's long, but it can be summarized very quickly. It's a pretty basic
That's true.
idea.
So Quinn is tooling around in like the outer wilds of Demacia, and she's got orders to go. This is like it definitely makes what am I trying to say? Like calls to attention. Like the Mage Rebellion is definitely happening, and that's an issue that she is actively dealing with. Like that's what her current assignment is. But she's recently been told, "Hey, you got to go help Garen on a diplomatic thing." I wonder what that could be. And she's moving through the wilds, and she spots smoke, or smells it. I think actually smells smoke, and goes to investigate. Finds a cabin that is burnt out, signs of like a struggle. And runs into another ranger, a guy called Dallin. Is that it, right? Dallin?
I think so, yeah.
That's how I said it in my head.
Yeah, Dallin. And they're kind of talking back and forth about, there was a widow and her child that lived here, and the locals say that she's been gone. She's been like taken, or she's gone, and we're kind of following the tracks of what we assume are the raiders who have kind of taken her. So they kind of follow the tracks. They find the raiders. The raiders are moving east, and they're trying to get across the Demacian border, and Quinn and Dallin kind of get up to them, I guess you would say. Quinn has essentially an altercation with the raiders. They kind of start fighting, and the whole thing kind of stops mid-fight when it kind of comes out that the woman who's been taken, her name is Asta, whatever. Asta kind of says, "Hey, they're not taking me. I'm this guy. They're the leader of the Raiders is my brother," and so we kind of get the whole scenario, which is that Asta's mother has some magic, and she's worried that her daughter might end up having some magic, and so wants to get her and her daughter out of Demacia. And she's actually from the Freljord, and that's who's coming to come get her. So they're not like kidnapping her; they're just helping her get back out of Demacia. And it kind of comes to a head when Quinn and Dallin is like, "Well, all our borders are closed right now. We're in a state of emergency. We can't let them out." And Quinn kind of orders him to let them go, and then they let him go, and then they part ways, still amicable, right? They even though they had a little disagreement, and then Quinn goes off to do Garen First Shield.
He jokes about her pulling rank with him and all that. Quinn does rationalize it in her head why it's better for Demacia to let them go. She's like, even if we survive this confrontation and we kill them all and we take her back, we're going to piss off this Freljordian tribe of people, and now they're gonna come for us.
Yeah,
that's
she's
not
like
good
the
for
daughter
Demacia.
of like one of the chieftains
Yes.
there. So
Yeah.
like the thing is like they win this fight, and then you have some Freljordian royal pissed off at them, or they lose the fight and Demacia loses their two best rangers.
And there aren't a lot of rangers. They make a point to say that Quinn has trained all of the rangers that exist. The only ones that exist are ones that she's trained, and they've recently lost a few in these fights. This is right after Silas has killed Jarvan III, so that's kind of like where Demacia is at right now. Everything's a little bit wild. And Asta's husband died defending J3, which they also talk about. So she was loyal to Demacia to a point, but she's also not from there. And she's like,
Right.
I kind of just want to fucking go home now because they might take my daughter from me.
Yeah, like she sees the writing
these are
on
not
the
my
wall.
people.
And her neighbors have
Yeah.
always
They've
they've
always
been
thought-
very suspicious of her anyway.
Because
so,
of her like outsider customs and everything.
with heightened paranoia, let's get the fuck out.
Yeah. I don't know. This one didn't really do anything for me. There's a lot of like her and Dallin talking, and I don't find them to be terribly compelling in their interactions, and I don't find them traveling to be terribly it doesn't paint a super vivid picture of like the Demacian hinterlands or wilds, which I would kind of hope that it might. It made me think of that Kidden story where he is speeding out across Ionia, and there's also kind of a twist at the end, and I like that for two reasons, because I thought the twist was interesting, and it was like, oh, it's a really nice boots on the ground view of Ionia, and with this, I was like, it's not really like showing me a lot of Demacia in an interesting way, and I saw I guess this might be an individual thing, but I saw the twist coming like way early, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no way this is what it appears to be, and it's certainly going to be the case that they're not, that the woman's not there under duress. And I think what made it frustrating is that, like you said, there's a disparity between this and that other short story, because in the other short story, Quinn and Valor fuck motherfuckers up really quickly. And here, it's like the moment Quinn is knocking people out and tying them up, I'm like, oh, God, she's not going to kill anyone. They're not going to be bad guys. They're going to be friends at the end of this. And it's like, press the conflict a little harder, right? Have her or Dallin, maybe even better, kill one of these guys. And it's like, what do you do in the wake of that? Or have Dallin stand his ground a little more. And like, what happens when she has to like come into conflict with this ranger guy who she respects and trusts, right? Like, punish the characters a little more, almost, is what I feel about it.
I would have liked the Dallin conflict for sure. I think like they had, so the thing about the twist too is like they not only like teased it out, but they like Quinn herself knew that something was up. Like when she was doing her investigation of the cabin and everything, like when they left, essentially there were like two sets of footprints. One was the one that clearly came to get her.
And the one set is when he was carrying.
You see where the footprints disappear? That's where that's where Valor was carrying.
Oh yeah.
You.
Oh fuck.
But yeah, so there was a second set of footprints that set fire to the house that did not seem to be they didn't know why there was a second set. Quinn felt like something was off that she couldn't quite put her finger on. She didn't know what it was, but something seemed weird. We later find out that that's just the townsfolk. We mentioned they were paranoid. They went in and saw what they thought were ruins, and they were like, well, fuck this house, and just set it on fire. Yeah, I liked this one a lot better than the other one. I agree. I don't think it gave us a lay of the land like the Kenan story gave, but I thought it gave us a good... It's one of the few stories I feel like where we get the idea that not all the Demacians are down with all this anti-mage rhetoric.
Yeah.
Because the only real example we had before that was Lux, who, I mean, obviously she's a mage. I don't think we'd really gotten a non-mage's perspective on, maybe Demacia is overstepping shit a lot right now.
Yeah.
Even in the beginning when Quinn gets the orders that she's gonna have to what's it called, escort Garen, it seems very clear that she's about as done with Garen shit as we are. She's like, literally anything is a better use of my time than escorting Garen. Why the fuck am I... Give this to Genevieve Elmhart, the Legends of Runeterra card.
Okay.
Hey, man, she's 6 mana, okay? We can't be fucking...
What I would maybe like to see then, because I agree, I do like seeing, in particular, someone who's a very high rank and who loves Demacia, seeing them being like, oh, hang on. But I would like to see a little bit more dilemma with her then. Maybe her loyalty to Demacia is going to be a little shaken here. Or maybe Demacia's loyalty to her will be a little bit shaken here. Where they're like, well, hang on, are you sympathizing with mages now just because she's not willing to murder or imprison them all? Yeah, I think playing into that more would make it more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, Mark, like that confrontation with Dallin at the end, I feel like could have been that moment where if it had gone a little bit further, maybe he had been like, all right, we're breaking the law, but like, I've got to report this.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe he's now gonna spread the word. He kind of hints that he's gonna spread the word that Quinn is sympathizing with mages, something like that.
Unfortunately, he's also a Legends of Runeterra card, so I think
he do that.
Yeah, I think that's I kind of wish he wasn't. Like it's like, oh, it's neat to see the card is the Green Fang Warden. It'd be nice to see. It's nice to see them show up, but I prefer it being someone who can be like that, because I think that would be a really fun thing to do. Because I think in this, remember we've always talked about like, ooh, Demacia kind of breaks into like 3 different sort of factions. Like,
yeah.
I think Quinn as a part of that sort of new Demacia with Lux and Garen makes total sense. They're a bunch of displaced like rugged Garen living out in the wilds, and Quinn's having to show him how to do it, and they're having these sort of back and forth conversations.
Oh, that'd be great.
That.
Yeah.
And she got her Ranger
and then,
Knights.
Yeah. And you can even like kind of bring that short story Quinn, that violent Quinn, into the mix as well there, where she's kind of showing. I mean, not that Garen isn't willing to be violent. He surely fights into wars, but I don't know. He
also did just behead a dude in that one story.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just slaughter people together. They'll all rip off a face.
Yeah.
That's 3.
You get a face, and you get a face, or you lose a face. I don't know.
Look at what you think you behead guys. Look at what Valor can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, because that's something that that she kind of says at the end, and I like that idea for her character, that she's someone who works in the gray areas, right? Where Demacia is all about black and white. So
yes,
she got a cool, unique perspective, and it would be tons of fun to rub that up against Garen. Because when Garen beheaded that guy, it was because the law said to, and he was like, yeah, no fucking questions, right?
Easy
he didn't
peasy.
hesitate. So it's nice to put him in a position where it's like, hey man, shit's just, you need nuance, and it's like, it's complicated. It's not simple, you know?
Something being the law doesn't make it right. And I mean, surely we all kind of know that. And
Yeah, blockhead.
Still figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for the record, the investigation piece that stuck out was she was in the house, and she said, those curtains had been drawn shut, Quinn noted, and the surviving shutters pulled closed. That means the fire had started after dark. Like, nice try, Sherlock, but some of us just like to live in the fucking dark, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, they don't have lamps.
She was doing a 12-hour gaming sesh, and she just needed to...
I think one thing that stuck out to me, this was such a stupid thing to focus on. I think they mentioned that Asta's child is like 2 or something like that. She was a little bit
Especially a
older.
toddler, yeah.
She was a toddler. And then at some point she was crying, and then they called her an infant. They referred to her as an infant. And I'm like, well, is she a fucking toddler or is she an infant?
Right? Let's get it fucking straight here, okay?
Hang on.
What
How
size
many
diapers,
weeks old is
alright?
this child?
Be the week.
I thought, okay, there is a moment where Quinn ults and Valor is flying around carrying her. I don't know. I was like, it was really hard not to go into like a Monty Python space of like, you know, like, can a 2-ounce bird really carry a 1-pound Quinn? Right?
Did they ever mention why he doesn't do that more? Because they're running for so long trying to catch this group, and this whole time the Eagles could have brought them to Mordor, you know? Like this whole time Valor could have brought her.
They do I feel like they do mention a bit
That it's
when,
like he
when he
gets a
did
little
pick it
windy.
up, it was a bit of a struggle, and then when
Okay.
he did let her down again, it was like, oh, here we go. And then he's,
Okay, that makes sense. I was wondering. I couldn't remember.
Valor to me. Oh, fuck. Okay, hold on.
Fucking shit.
Valor was just falling with style the whole time.
Yeah.
Your armor's heavier than you think, bitch.
Bitch, you need to lay off the donuts.
Why
I
do you
fucking-
carry around Poppy's hammer?
My back. Oh.
Yeah. She also has a line in here where she's, on the whole, Demacians are good, honorable people. But fear and distrust were spreading like a plague and bringing out the worst in them. And I don't know about that, because I've met a lot of shitty ones so far.
Like 90% of the Demacians were kind of d-holes.
What about I'll find one.
Lux?
Also, can I just say, I fucking love Egrid shooting his shot here.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, he was so funny when when the Quinn and the Rangers realized they're not gonna fight anymore. What was his name?
Egrid.
Egrid. He was like, you like to fight too? Let's go have many babies.
Right? He's like, you're fast and strong, and you stitch up wounds real good. You should come back with me and we'll get married.
And then she ignored him, so he's like, one more time. just gonna try one
Later
more
on,
time.
he's like, I gotta...
She might not have heard me.
Right. Yeah. Just this club is super loud, and it's just like I said we should get married.
Married. Babies? Do you want my babies? No? Okay.
Yes. No. Yes. No. 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 Okay. Fuck me. Ranger Knight at the
Yeah, that was
Roxbury? No. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Don't laugh at that.
I will laugh at that, Mark. It was
Not
funny.
only am I laughing at that, that's going on TikTok, Mark. You're welcome.
Oh fuck.
So we got one more. And we all reread all of Garen First Shields for this, right?
No.
Oh, no?
Oh well. I mean, I guess if you don't
I
care
haven't
about
opened
the
that
lore,
since we were in the... Oh yeah, Mark, did you read all of
If you
Garen's
don't give a
First Shield?
shit
No.
about the podcast, then fine.
John, I'm pretty sure you also didn't read all of it.
Absolutely not.
oh no.
But I can take you through Quinn's part of it.
It sounds like we're ripping on it. It's good.
No,
It's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
novella, But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I didn't reread it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm not rereading it every time a character in it shows up.
No.
I mean,
Absolutely not.
this would probably be the only other time.
Hey.
Until Tiana gets made into a character.
Yeah.
No, she
I already
can't.
reread it for LeBlanc. So, Shield of Remembrance ends with her sprinting to make her rendezvous with Garen in this story.
For like 3 days.
Yeah. When she finally meets up with Garen, she comes aboard their ship. She does not help row like everyone else does, which leads to some disapproving comments by Eben Hess. Instead, she just kind of stretches and goes to sleep on the deck because, she ran for fucking 3 days. And then Valor's flying around somewhere above the ship. Then when they end up camping, instead of sleeping in their protected camp with the rest of the Vanguard, she spends the night scouting. And in the morning she returns and she and Garen discuss their path forward. She claims they can't sail forward much more because the river's lower than usual, so they should land on the Grey Claws, continue to climb the ravine between Risionland and Knockmerch by foot. Garen and the other dumbass shield sergeants consider other options, but then in the end, they're like...
That was kind of drunk John adding dumbass, because that's not in his notes.
Well, they're dumbasses. So they hired this ranger, right, to help them scout, and then she was like, here's what you should do, and they're like, we'll look into our own options, thank you very much. And then in the end, they're like, okay, yours was the good option, we'll do that. Like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, that's why you hired Sherlock. She's Sherlock.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay, fuck.
Yeah. So outside of the Alderberg, where Garen and the rest of the Vanguard are when they get to their destination, Quinn finds tracks and follows them and realizes, oh shit, there's a Noxian war camp here. She's almost spotted. Well, she is spotted, but then murders the dude. And then tries to run away. She has to fight her way through a bunch of sentries. And then she realizes that with like a force this big, the lord of the castle that Garen's in, like, yeah, they fucking knew they were here. Like, they didn't sneak up on him. So she's starting to sense foul play.
Because the bird.
Meanwhile,
sorry.
Meanwhile, inside, Garen is getting also suspicious of his great uncle, who's acting very un-great uncle-y. And then Quinn runs in and is all like, we've done been had, folks. They lying. And a fight breaks out. The Vanguard's trapped, and Garen gives Quinn the okay to try and take out a tower that could be used to free them. Essentially, there's like a bunch of portcullises that are kind of closed, and they're stuck between two of them. She's like, hey, Quinn, go take out that tower, try and raise the portcullis, and if things get dicey, get the fuck out of here, because someone needs to tell Demacia what happened here. Lo and behold, things get dicey. She takes out most of the tower, but one soldier who she stabbed, but didn't stab good enough, manages to injure Valor and shoot her in the chest with a crossbow bolt. Not like her wimpy crossbow bolts either.
Wow.
A legit crossbow
Two-hander.
bolt. Two-hander. Valor does manage to fly away, though. So they kind of see Valor fly away, but couldn't get the gate up. So then, the whole big fight happens with Garen and all that shit. Quinn's not involved in that. But then just as the Demacians are getting overwhelmed by these superior numbers of Noxians, Valor returns with reinforcements. So they easily rout the enemy, and all is good. And then Quinn eventually recovers and goes back to the woods where she's more comfortable. The end.
Good job, Valor. Literally saved
You did,
the day.
Valor. You did. Valor, unsung hero.
I want to see that scene where Valor
this is
shows
gonna
up, and it's like Lassie. It's like, what's that, boy?
Oh yeah.
Garen's
How did
trapped in a
Valor
well?
Get a bunch of soldiers to follow him.
I think she put a
She
note
was
on him.
just like swatting him. Like, what the fuck? Get away from me.
This
Yeah, she
bird
puts a lot of notes in Valor.
in Valor.
He's just got her journal.
Right in there.
He just vomits up her journal. That's where she keeps.
I guess it's better than the alternative.
This one's just a shopping
shits him
list.
out.
Oh,
See?
It's the fanfic between her and Garen. What?
What? I remember liking her a lot in this, though, and I would like to reread it at some point. Now that we've gone through her lore.
Yeah. This is a good combination, too, of the two. It's like a good combination of the versions of her we get in the two stories, because she has, obviously, like, she's a good ranger and good at sleuthing, like she was in the second story, but also she's up against Noxians. So there's murder that's going to be happening. so we get to see that brutal side, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice balance. I agree.
All right.
And those are the Quinn stories. Now, she has a bit of old lore here. I mentioned the bio. The bio's mostly the same, just more generic. But the one big difference is instead of the whole bit about the hunting party, she and her unnamed brother go on an adventure and tragedy strikes. And instead of being rescued by Valor and nursing him back to health, she just finds Valor already injured and just nurses him back to health.
Yeah.
There's no big epic. And then also, this is a big difference that I wasn't a huge fan of. Instead of, or a big difference that where I kind of like the old shit better. Instead of just being vouched for by nobility in Demacia, they're like, no, we don't know who you are. So she has to prove herself by tracking down a Noxian assassin who had evaded the rest of the Demacian guard, and like prove that like, hey, I'm better than kind of all you guys. So like, let me in now.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I did think it was at some point they're like, okay, she's, becomes a night ranger, ranger knight. And then they kind of mentioned like, she doesn't like to pull rank and stuff like that. And I'm like, rank? She just got here. What rank does she have? Why does she have a rank?
She's like one of the only ranger knights.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a lot of rangers, but to be a ranger knight, you need to have the nobility vouch for you, which is fucking weird.
That's Demacia.
And it seems like you either have noble friends or you like the outdoors. Not both. So she's the only one that...
Yeah, I like that version better too. Now that you're saying it, you know what else is neat about that is that ties into her release materials, right? Where you get like the almost like a mixed media type thing, showing her investigation or whatever.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah,
and that one was called Demacia Needs Heroes, and it's just a bunch of excerpts from her journal. We get to see her superior tracking intellect when she realizes there's essentially like a copycat killer posing as Talon, either posing as Talon or like just people notice murders and they're like, oh, it must be Talon. But she's like looking at all the MO and she's like, no, this is all wrong. Talon wouldn't do this. This is sloppy. This isn't what he would do. So she goes to Jarvan IV and Garen and is like, guys, you gotta believe me. This ain't Talon. And Garen's like, fucking suck a brick. I'm going to go out and investigate anyway. And Jarvan's like, no, trust your gut. I believe in you. And so she writes in her journal too, like, Garen, kind of a stickler. Don't like him much. Valor does not respect him. Jarvan, different than I expected. Cool. But she goes out, and her hunt brings her back to where she lost Caleb, and that's where she has the whole like page long letter to Caleb, like, hey Caleb, here's how things are going.
What's
sorry
new with
about
you?
getting like eviscerated.
Bye bye. And we found out this is the assassin from her bio that she was tracking that got her acknowledged in the first place. So she does eventually bring him to justice and earns a spot in the Rangers. And then the last page of her diary is a self-portrait, which is very good. It turns out that Quinn is quite the artist.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Almost like a naturist, like going around sketching, like
drawing plants and shit.
She is good though.
It's good though.
Yeah,
she is.
She's got
talent.
Yeah. She's got talent. Do you think Do you think they did the talon thing because like birds have talons and so like they're obviously they're natural like they'd be friends? I don't know.
Natural enemies
or enemies. I don't know. Whatever. Frenemies.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm shipping Quinn and Talon just for that.
The next piece of lore here is called Journey into the Freljord. This is where Quinn is sent into the Freljord to assess the potential threat, as barbarian tribes have always raided Demacia. But now it looks like people are actually like uniting under Ash, and Demacia is a little bit worried about what that means for them. So they send Quinn to investigate. So she starts at Ash's camp and is surprised at how warm and welcoming they are. Even Valor likes Ash, not like that shithole Garen. So she hears whispers when she's in the camp of another potential leader, though. So she leaves to scout out Sejuani's camp. After scouting a bit, she realized that Sejuani is much more of a raider. She destroys villages and pillages them, but she's also recruiting a lot. And she's even recruiting villages previously loyal to Ash. And that's kind of when she realizes that, like, Sedge, first of all, is not the starving, ill-equipped warband that the people in Ash's camp described her as, and also that Ash does not really have the reach to protect her own tribes that are this far out, which could be a real big problem to Ash and Demacia. And as she keeps scouting, she learns of an ice witch and a new troll king who's been organizing the previously chaotic trolls and organizing raids.
Who could they be?
Who could it be? So she stumbles across one of these raids, but she can't really save anyone. But she does notice that the village was also loyal to Ash, which is kind of the second Ash loyal village she's seen get, actually third, I think, that she's seen get destroyed in her time here. Finally, she arrives at the Frost Guard, who are outwardly supportive of Ash. Val immediately distrusts Lysandra, but Quinn assumes it's just because Lysandra reminds Valor of Demacian nobility, who suck. So after questioning Lysandra about a lot of things, Quinn realizes she's being very dismissive, not fully answering any questions, and she's getting a little bit suspicious of Lysandra. So nighttime comes, and she decides to sneak around and take a look. And she realizes that every building in town has like a glowing watching eye on it. And she also notices a bunch of members of the Frost Guard praying to this weird like statue and doing like this weird ritual. And she's like, this is weird as hell. We got to get the fuck out of here, Val. So she just splits. And the Ice Witch ends up following them and almost catching them, but turns around at the last minute. So yeah, Quinn then writes a report that like, hey, Ash doesn't have the power to protect her people, but she's chill. Any alliance that's under Sejuani or Lysandra is going to be a real big problem to us.
Do you think Lysandra like melts if she leaves the front yard?
Ooh, it's getting too hot. I gotta get back north.
That's why she had to turn back.
Dearie me, I am melting. Oh man,
It's like great. Dear me, I'm melting out here. I need some lemonade.
nice mint julep.
That's
like
how
this.
I remember her voice sounding.
She's like, oh, but yeah, this thing is really cool, and I wish it was like mainline.
Canon still.
Yeah, right. A lot of this still seems pretty fucking relevant.
Yeah.
Like, there's like a tiny bit of details that I feel like would need to be tweaked, but like the majority of this stuff is like still what's going on.
Yeah. In her bio, I think it says that she's done missions like outside of Demacia, including in the Freljord. So I feel like you said, just make a few tweaks to this, and it could just easily be that mission, right? Before the Mage Rebellion and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are all the stories. She's part of one cinematic. It's very important. Telstone's King's Gambit.
Oh yeah, what happens in this? What do you see?
Quinn is losing to Valor in Telstone.
That's way fucking cuter than I thought it was gonna be. I'm sorry. Oh well, that's
Quinn.
Canon Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah.
About what I expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's fine. She's fun.
yeah, I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She got a lot of potential. A lot of things she could do. I don't know. There's a
I
lot.
would like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would read a story about Quinn. I would read a Garen First Shield, but just Quinn about like.
Okay.
I mean, maybe even about like another Freljordian expedition or something.
Ooh, yeah,
like
yeah.
that, or maybe like.
Trying to think of where else she could go, you know? Maybe they get kind of wind of something void related and she's trying to check out what the fuck that's about. That could be interesting.
Sure.
Yeah. Or like Bob,
Could be in Shurima.
going to the. I was gonna say like if she heard some void shit, going to Shurima too, because I'm sure like.
Running into the Kaisa.
Well, I was gonna say like Demacians are real. They're real against Noxus for like their expansionism. I'm sure they would have some strong thoughts about fucking Azir.
I sure do.
Yeah. I mean, I
But
think.
would Quinn get along with Azir? Or would Valor rather?
I don't think Valor
Both
would like
both
Azir.
birds?
Yeah.
No,
You know what? Just because
that's-
they're both birds, okay?
right. Come on, John. Don't pair up the two only birds you know together
You think
that.
you think
That's
her and
fucked
Swain
up.
get along? Like, because they both got birds.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just pairing her and Talon because they have talons.
No,
okay.
it's a bird name. It's a quirk. It's different.
Right? It's
And it's that like love-hate thing. It's like Garen, Katarina. That's another thing he and Quinn could bond over. Like, oh, those Noxians. We hate them, but
God-
they're also kind of fucking
yeah.
hot.
or like
Stupid,
Foxians.
sexy Noxians. Foxians.
So John
God
said
damn it.
stupid, sexy Noxians right as Mark said Foxians. I'm sorry you got one upped by Mark there. That was much
No. There's room enough for all.
Anyway,
Right? What are we talking about?
AU time?
You want to hear about some AUs?
Yeah,
Hell
I
yeah.
opened up her skins. So people don't think I'm just playing on my phone. I look at the skins.
Fucking playing Vampire Survivors while we do the rest of
Honestly,
the-
it's fucking tempting, but I won't. I think I could listen and play Vampire Survivors. So
But could you
saying.
listen,
it,
look
try
at
it.
skins, and play Vampire
No,
Survivors?
like, try it. You're just gonna hear me like, oh, this fucking bats.
Goddamn garlic. Fucking ballsack bullshit.
Alright, anyway.
All right, we got Silver Age first.
Silver Age.
The Rift's greatest superheroes and most dastardly villains
Oh.
available at a comic store near you. So it's Phoenix Quinn,
It's just Jean Grey.
Jean Grey,
Okay.
although not ability-wise. The daring duo, Quinn and the Phoenix Valor, are always near when crime is afoot. Combining their legendary powers, they clean up the streets of New Valoran with a well-placed arrow and a burning flame of justice.
So they're the same, but Valor's got fire.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fire.
Okay.
Fire. Yeah.
But fire.
But fire. That is a very common AU. This champion, but they're on fire. Except Quinn's not on fire.
Next up, and this one I like the implications of.
John was like, I gotta shut this bitch up. Sorry, go ahead. What?
I love you.
I love you too, honey. She looks like Sejuani in this one.
So we got Woad Tribe, which
It's like she went up there and she's like, I'm gonna become
She
one
went,
of.
went native.
She went-
she said yes to Egrid.
Oh.
I like it.
Okay.
Few can survive a journey through the frozen.
Are you laughing at the way your voice That's what my voice just did. I was gonna make fun of you when I was like, he's probably already self-conscious about it. Don't make fun of him. You.
That was a straight up freak moment. Sorry, I'm
he's
I'm
going-
finally hitting puberty, guys.
He's going
This
through
is,
puberty after all this time.
I'm pretty pissed off I hit the gray hair before I hit the puberty, but you know, sometimes you get unlucky.
Few.
Few can survive the journey through the frozen tundra of the north.
Oh, maybe people will stop thinking you're a woman on the phone.
I doubt it. They'll just think I'm my own son. Oh, he doesn't know how to control his voice yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, few can survive.
Few can survive a journey through the frozen tundra of the north. If the cold doesn't kill you, the woad surely will. And this is Woad Scout Quinn. Pity those poor souls lost in the northern mountains.
You're never gonna make it. Pity the souls. Who wrote this? This is the shortest AU one you had.
It's taking
This is gonna take longer than this fucking
longer
Star
than
Guardians.
Guardian, for sure. Quinn, scout of the Woad tribe, will always find them, and those who cross her path are said never to return. Who says they never return? Who knows?
This is one of those skins where, like, Riot doesn't know what to do with female faces because she just looks like a whole ass different fucking person in this one. Like, if you just crop that head out, you would not think that that's Quinn.
No.
Yeah.
Although, gun to my head, I couldn't describe a single feature about Quinn other than the fact that she's got a giant-ass bird
Bird.
and a crossbow on her hand. I don't know anything about her face.
Well, it's not even on her hand sometimes, and sometimes she's holding a standalone, like, one-handed crossbow. So Riot can't figure it out even.
It's true. All right.
We gotta move on, though.
Next up, we got Warden. The Protectorate was an order dedicated to enforcing a rigid, unforgiving system of laws in an attempt to slow the seemingly inevitable rise of the Mage Lords. Though the order itself was disbanded long ago, Wardens now don their armor as they lie in wait for the opportunity to strike against the descendants of their ancient enemy. And this one is Warden Quinn. The Protectorate of old gained its power from bonds. Bonds between comrades, bonds to armor, bonds to its edicts. Quinn follows in the footsteps of her ancestors, having forged a bond with a familiar she has named Valor, in honor of the Protectorate's central tenet.
Okay. So the bonds. Okay.
Bonds.
That's
Stocks
literally
and bonds,
all I
baby. Next up, we got Be Mine, set in a world where romance dominates. Each of these champions wear romantically themed attire. This one's Heartseeker Quinn. It's a bird! It's a plane! It's a dove? Quinn takes up the mantle of the Heartseekers to channel her inner romantic, peppering the battlefield with dozens of razor-sharp arrows and giant stinging bird scratches.
Okay. Birds, but love. Okay.
Love birds, baby.
Why didn't they make
quack, baby, love, quack. Bilgewater, Burning Tide. Welcome to Bilgewater, where fortunes are made at the end of a gun. Anything you might need can be found at the slaughter docks, whether that be some hired hands, sea monster stew, or the captain who will send you to your watery grave? I don't want that. Corsair Quinn. For enterprising pirate crews, Quinn is a highly sought-after lookout, though she comes at a high price for someone typically hidden away in the crow's nest. Then again, how many other hired hands can take out half a boarding party before they make it off their ship?
Pretty cool.
I never noticed Quinn was in this because this is the splash that has the shark Aatrox and Daddy Garen.
Yeah.
And, like, I never even saw fucking Quinn. Someone else is also in the background. Is that Mal? Who the fuck is that?
Malphite?
Malphite.
Or Maokai?
He's like the ship.
One of them. Never noticed.
Yeah.
You can't put that shark over there and Daddy Garen. Make me to see Quinn. She also looks hot, though. She's just really...
Everyone in that splash can get it.
Everyone
including
in
Malphite.
Splash
I was going to say
is hot.
Malphite even?
Malphite? Hang on. Let me zoom in on Malphite.
Check out those portcullises on Malphite.
I mean,
Cannons ahoy.
give me another glass of wine. And maybe.
Finally, we have Star Guardian.
When the hell did she get Star Guardian skin?
Very recently.
July
Yeah.
2022. Okay, very recently.
In a vast and dark universe, young warriors are chosen by fate to protect the light of the stars. They're destined to burn bright, but collapse as furiously as they shine. And now this is now separated into seasons. So Quinn is in season 4, which is
she
the
in
latest
autumn,
season.
or-
She's a rising moon. So ancient enemies appear in Valor City, scarred by Zoe's invasion, now defended by a new generation of Star Guardians. As darkness gathers in the skies above, Kaisa and Akali prepare their untested squad for a fight with forces beyond their comprehension, and the true threat that awaits beyond. This one, Star Guardian Quinn. A Star Guardian duo from another city, Quinn and her familiar Valor are inseparable companions. And a good thing, too, since they carry the hopes and dreams of their hometown along with them. A calculating recon specialist with a knack for guerrilla strikes, she brings a new breed of tactics to the fight to save the city, though she might need some time to warm up to all her new, highly enthusiastic squad mates. And then Valor's got its own stuff here, too.
Oh.
Though it's far from the nest it once called home, Valor remains a vigilant protector of this strange new city. Perched on Quinn's shoulder, it shares her point of view and her nostalgia for the days of their youth. Of course, there's plenty to see and scout in Valorant City, but the skies seem just a little bit more gray. And this has a Legends of Runeterra level up quotes too. So Valor may be a magical Star Guardian familiar, but to Quinn's dismay, he isn't above fighting the park pigeons for a few extra crumbs. And this monster may be big Valor, but that can't stop us. Let's blind it with the brilliance of starlight. And finally, show him how we shine, Valor.
I want to see Valor fucking up pigeons. Like, this giant eagle just coming in, just like fighting like 100 New York City pigeons. I don't know.
Just to like steal their fucking French fries. Right. Mine.
Oh, God. Fucking love some French fries right now.
Now, she shows up briefly in the Shadow of a Doubt cinematic. She's in some pictures Akali's flipping through at the beginning of the cinematic. She's there.
Great.
Not in any of the cool parts. And then she's in the visual novel Another Sky, which is the kind of in-client event that was happening for the Star Guardian event earlier this year. Basically, after the big initial battle against Fiddlesticks, Quinn and Rel join Akali and Kaisa's school. And they kind of let him know, hey, we're Star Guardians too. Ho-ho! And Kaisa's like, cool, come be on our team. So she and Rel are from a small town named Kiso, and they didn't talk much before becoming Star Guardians. But due to being isolated from the rest of the Guardians, Quinn had to train Rel with help from, it says, the official Star Guardian Daily Planner. And I really want to know where that came from and who initially wrote that. But apparently there's an official Star Guardian Daily Planner.
This is what happened to the Journal of Justice writer.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, she's with the team, but nothing special to note in her special interactions. Basically, the cool shit you unlock by raising your relationship with her is like she does a school project.
Ooh.
So that's pretty cool.
Is it like a diorama? Is it like a theme? What's the?
It's kind of like a report on I think like her old town, I want to say.
Wow.
Wow.
Thrilling
Exactly,
stuff.
but
All right.
It wasn't great. She worked on it with Kaisa and Rel, and Akali was gonna work on it too, but Akali really just wanted to work with Kaisa, and then Kaisa invited...
All right, well, that's the AUs, everybody.
Quinn, and then Quinn invited Rel, and then Akali left.
What grade did she get?
It was a whole thing.
Quinn told me to tell you that Rel heard from Kaisa.
Man.
So, lay on those fun facts, honey bunny.
Oh, I got some fun facts for you.
Oh, you got some fun facts for me?
Yeah. Quinn is voiced by Lauren Mayhew.
Nice. Great voice, Lauren.
Great voice, Lauren. And she was actually uncredited for the longest time, but she came back to voice Quinn in Legends of Runeterra 2, and that was kind of the first time that anyone actually knew who voiced her. There was like a whole community dedicated to trying to figure out who the fuck voiced Quinn.
Because they also all liked her voice like we did.
Probably. And they didn't know until Legends of Runeterra came out.
I know she's like a singer. I was looking her up a little bit, and I know she has a lot of,
Oh. That voice sounds the name sounds familiar.
Quinn used re-explored themes from a champion concept known as the Eagle Rider, who was an entirely different champion. During playtesting, Quinn's old passive used to call down Valor to suppress an enemy champion if they brought her below 30% of her maximum health.
Ooh.
That's kind of cool.
Yes.
Powerful. Also, we mentioned that Quinn is a ranger knight. We kind of mentioned like the rarity of this. So there are rangers in the Demacian military, but not all rangers have the rank and privileges of being a knight, because you need, to be a knight, especially as a commoner, you need a sponsorship from a noble house. And the Bouvelles didn't just vouch for Quinn and Valor, but they also sponsored their ascension to become a knight and paid for and equipped her with the necessary resources she needs. So they were a big reason that she is a knight.
Okay.
And then we mentioned this in the Kiana episode, but Quinn is the first champion whose name starts with Q, back when Q was the very last letter that did not have a champion associated with it. Quinn's dance reference is Are You That Somebody by Aaliyah.
That is old school.
Old.
I mean, damn.
Leah. Damn.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. And then finally, her crossbow is made of the horns of a tuskvore, the same creature that killed her brother.
That's pretty cool.
Brutal.
Yeah. Fuck your tusks.
Okay.
I meant what I said. That's Quinn.
That's Quinn.
Yeah.
What did her old ult used to be? She got like changes not too long ago, and I'm trying to remember what Quinn used to do.
Yeah.
Her ult mainly was what changed in her passive. Didn't you become Valor? Was that something that happened? Like, didn't you trade out? Like, Quinn disappeared and Valor came in instead?
Yeah. And
Rather than her being carried?
I think you're
Right, and then you were melee, and then you had to...
and like your abilities
Do
I think
things as
changed, and
Valor.
like one would become like
yeah.
a. It's all. This is kind of sounding kind of correct. Like she wouldn't get carried around like she
Yeah.
does now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember
Yeah, okay.
none of this.
No, I played her a little bit.
yeah,
I wanted to like Quinn. I wanted to play her.
Yeah.
I still can't play Quinn to this day. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
she's kind of weird.
Mostly a top laner, so
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that was Quinn. Any final thoughts?
Oh, for her short
I
story.
like her better in theory than in execution.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Wow, you both dumped him at the same time? Sure, yeah.
That's how we do,
You
baby.
know. I agree with that. Like I said, she's just on the side of interesting for me. She's not the most like crazy, unique, cool character. And I was just gonna say for her rules of survival story, she has some pretty cool art. It's just kind of hand drawn, kind
yeah.
of inked, black and white. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that was Quinn. Thank you for listening. We have a Twitter.
We sure do.
It's at Loreheads. We also have a Twitch, twitch.tv/Loreheads. We're a little wonky right now because of the holidays, but John generally will stream once a week. He alternates between TFT and a random indie game.
Yeah.
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 We have a YouTube as well where we post these, and we'll be we have like a parody songs that John does. God, my brain's not working today. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And these episodes too, in case you haven't been following, are recorded. The video is being recorded now too, and those are this one and also moving forward are Patreon exclusives for like the $5 plus Patreon tier. But you can also see highlights on our YouTube, in YouTube Shorts and on TikTok.
Yeah,
Put
we
together.
do have a TikTok, League of Loreheads. We never really posted anything there, so I never talked about it. But yeah, John's gonna post some little clips and highlights from the episodes. Yeah, we have a Discord as well. It's linked in the description of this episode if you want to join in on some discussions. John and Mark are there more frequently than I am, but we're all around. And like John said, we do have a Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons, Big Man Gnomes, Chloe Things, Kindred Enjoyer, King of Hearts, Shupa Mustache, and Techno Robert. Yeah. If you guys were rangers who wanted to become knights, I would find a way to become nobility just to vouch for you.
Wow.
Ooh. I didn't know where you were going to go.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good
Me
one.
neither.
I never do either.
Well, you
He
can't
just
tell.
starts the sentence. And
Little peer behind the curtain, folks. I never know what's going to happen.
he says with 10 pages of notes on every fucking champion.
Also, this is just something that's worth mentioning, probably in all the episodes moving forward, because we don't know which ones y'all are listening to, if you listen to all of them, or just pick your favorite champions. But we are recently, probably by the time this episode comes out, actually, going to start having ads, kind of before or after, maybe some in the middle of the episode. But just for some visibility, we can set which ads we don't want to be associated with the podcast. We can't specifically pick which ads are. So if you hear any ads that you feel like are either inappropriate or do not belong on the podcast, let us know and we will remove them. because we know there are certain types of ads that we don't want here, but we're still getting used to the system. So it'll probably take us a little bit to figure out. But just reach out to us. Let us know, because if you don't want them there, we don't want them there.
Yeah. That could be on Discord. Just make sure you tag us, or on Twitter, or you can email us. It's leagueofloreheads@gmail.com. So
yeah.
Okie dokie. And be sure to join us next week, because we're going to start on the R's.
And we'll have a guest.
That feels so late in the alphabet, R.
It does.
Right? Wild.
Yeah.
There's a lot of R's, though.
Well,
I think a lot of S's. I think there's more S's than any other
Yeah.
letter.
Which one was it?
Keep us going through the year, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about the Charmer, Rakan, and probably Zaya, too.